Did you take note of Absol's dialogue during that scene? That's why he's so stunned earlier. I'm amazed though. Ninetales isn't just a legend, it really exists. And that Ninetales is up at the peak. Mighty, all the effort we put into getting here, it's finally going to bear fruit. We'll meet Ninetales and get the truth. We'll finally get rid of the suspicions others have about you, Whitey. Awesome. Listen, Whitey, don't be so worried. It will be alright. It's only natural that you would be scared of meeting Ninetales, Whitey. The heartless human who abandoned... I read Devoured God of War. I think my brain's still in Digital Devil Saga mode. Even though it's been 3 months. Close to 3 months. But now, I wonder why. I really don't know why. But it's alright. Whitey, you're a really good sort. You know, before, when I first got the idea to start a rescue team, I met you in Tiny Woods, Whitey. Now that I think about it, there was something different about you. It is strange, isn't it? But Whitey, I believe in you. Anyway, we'll know the truth when we get to the peak. Let's do our best. It's the last time we're going to hear this song, Escape Through the Snow. Alright, so Absol joins us for this dungeon. You were taking notes of Absol's dialogue during that scene, right? The amount of dialogue that he had. 0. He had 0 lines during that scene. Now, my guess for that, or what would be my guess, is that because Absol's an optional character, or, you know, an optional partner, and of course they wouldn't, you know, maybe you wouldn't have Absol in that scene, so he wouldn't say anything if he wasn't there, and so there's no point putting in lines for him if he may or may not be there. But the thing is, he's always in that scene. You can't get rid of Absol at this point. Absol is part of the team for this dungeon and for that cutscene, which is why it's so strange that Absol doesn't have any lines there. In fact, Absol's last piece of dialogue, was at the end of the Articuno cutscene. Absol doesn't say anything for the rest of the game. Absol may as well not even be here. So I've got no idea why Absol's even in this game. Well, in the story at least. So I don't know what's up with that, but I guess we could take the extra help. Absol is, Absol's a pretty decent partner compared to everything else we've had to deal with. So, I mean, I guess it's, you know, it's neat for Let's Play purposes to have someone else with you during the dungeon, during a mainline dungeon. And Swablu, of all Pokemon, has Fury attacks, so be careful of it. Yeah, it's time for Mount Freeze, which, unfortunately, its theme isn't anywhere near as, well, see, part of me wonders if Frosty Forest and Mount Freeze, their order or their placements were mixed up, and their music as well, or because Mount Freeze is nowhere near as grand. It still has a rest point and a peak, but we already fought Articuno. It's nowhere near as grand or a challenging, as much of a challenging dungeon as Mount Thunder and Blaze were. It's a really odd dungeon. It's just sort of here. Granted, it has a lot of plot significance, but the music doesn't really match the tone set by the other two mountains. Because those were both very serious, especially Mount Thunder's. Mount Blaze was very grand and epic, and this is just sort of, it sounds like Lapis Cave's theme. It sounds very out of place. It's not a bad song, it's fine. But it's just, it's very inconsistent, is really how I feel about it. Look at that, look at that. Oh, well, if he killed Shelgon, that would have been amazing, but, yeah, do a collateral shot. But yeah, Mount Freeze is another dungeon. Well, it's not bad, it's an okay dungeon, but... I mean, we just had Frosty Forest, which was also a icy themed dungeon. See, if Frosty Forest was different, or if it, you know, wasn't Frosty Forest, if it was some other type. How interesting would it have been if, well, I mean, we did just have Mount Blaze before it, but how cool would it have been if, you know how there's the fire fields in one of the cutscenes where, or the cutscene before, just after running away, where, what's the name, they go, where the narrator says, you know, they've ventured across fields of fire. They go across to this massive open savanna looking place and it's all on fire. And there's also a friend area like that. Wouldn't it have been cool if we had a dungeon like that instead of Frosty Forest? Because, and you know, we could still fight Articuno at the end instead of Articuno saying, oh, well, the dungeon, you know, the place is considerably warmed up. You could say, the whole place is on fire. It used to be an icy place and now it's on fire. This is absurd, you know, it could look like the field of fire. I think that would have been much more interesting and made Mount Freeze feel less redundant. But, oh well, I suppose. Maybe there's a post-game dungeon like that, and I'm not sure. Essentially anything I say, wow, that would have been neat if that was in the game, could be in the post-game. And I'm just not sure, because there's a lot about the post-game that I don't know. I just know that you can evolve, and that you fight more legendaries. And that it's probably much harder. Much harder than the main game, at least. And you probably have to grind in between dungeons, because it's post-game RPG stuff. Which is a blessing or a curse. Depends on the game. And the thought of doing post-game grinding is just something I don't want to think about for a long time. After Digital Devil Saga 1 and 2, with the tens of hours of grinding in each during their post-games, which is fine at the time because, you know, I was just couldn't wait to play it. I was super excited. But, you know, I sure as hell wouldn't do it now. It's just too much grinding. But Mount Freeze is, again, it's not even that difficult. I mean, the most trouble you can have with it is Swablu. Oh, actually, no, there is one Pokemon later on. I think it's, yeah, it's Seviper. Seviper in the dungeon is super painful to deal with. Because not only does it poison, but I think it has poison... Is it Poison Fang or Poison Tail, which can badly poison, aside from Toxic? Whatever, it has one of those and it can badly poison you, I think, at least. It can at least poison you regularly, just the standard poison. And it's strong and it has a multi-hitting move, and we just did 185 damage to a Pupitar. It's strange that a Swablu is more threatening than a Pupitar. Well, I guess we do have the type advantage on a Pupitar. Anyway, let me take a swig of water really quick. So hang on, is Shelgon? Shelgon, I always forget if it's just Dragon type or Dragon and Steel. Because all of me wants to say, oh, it's Dragon and Steel, just look at it. But I'm honestly not sure. I can't remember. And I don't have anything close to me that can verify, so... I'm honestly not sure. But I guess the next lineup of Let's Plays will be DMC 1 and Metroid 2, which I'm excited for both of them. Metroid 2 I've been meaning to do for a while, same with Devil May Cry. Metroid 2 for a lot longer though. And yeah, I can't wait to finally get them done. I can't wait to finish 2 and then get onto Fusion, because Fusion is so much fun. I love Fusion so much. And with that I'll have finished all of the, because I'm not really counting Zero Mission or Samus Returns, because they're remakes. But I'll have finished all of the 2D Metroid games. Metroid 1, 2, 3, and 4. Although I'm gonna redo Super Metroid because it's my favourite game of all time, and redoing that would be a treat, especially in order to up the quality of it. And I would like to, I think I've talked about this earlier, but I would like to redo Transformers War for Cybertron, but not Fall of Cybertron. Yeah, I've talked about this before. But I really would like to focus on new Let's Plays for the time being. I mean, I can think of 2 games that I definitely want to do, because I have 5 favourite games of all time, and I really want to have them done by the end of the year. My favourite games of all time are Super Metroid. Obviously that's the top, and I've already, you know, that's already been done. I can already say that I've done that, and it'll be twice by the end of this year that I've done it. Sonic Adventure 1, which I've also already done. Not in the greatest quality that it's in now, but it's, you know, it'll suffice. Pokemon Heart Gold, Soul Silver. I did Gold and Silver, and that's enough. I'm not doing the remake, as much as I would love to do that. I'm not doing those again. Super Smash Bros. Melee, which I haven't done yet, although just doing a Smash game isn't that appealing to me, because it's a weird way of Let's Playing. But if I do Melee, I'm not doing all the events, because to hell with that, they're too hard. And I'm not unlocking everything, I'll just do the way that I've done it for 4 and Ultimate. Not like I did 64. And my 5th favourite game of all time, well, not in any particular order, it's just one of my favourite games of all time, Super Mario Galaxy 2. Which I absolutely want to do. The problem is that it's very long. It's a very long game, and 2, it's very difficult. And you know, I do like a challenging game every now and then. Personally, I mean, Shin Megami Tensei is one of my favourite series of all time. But to Let's Play a difficult game can be a little annoying, because I always feel like, oh, I'm not making progress. If I have to do a section over and over, and I want to have a decent amount of progress on video. But granted, the last time I played the game was about 7 years ago. And I think in that time I've gotten considerably better at video games. To say the least, I've certainly had much more experience in that time, so I should be able to take care of it much better than I did. Last time I played either of the Galaxy games was actually for the Galaxy 1 Let's Play, but when I finished it at the end of 2015. 5 years. It's been 5 years since I touched a Galaxy game. What am I doing? What am I doing? I mean, I've been busy playing new games in the meantime, which is always a plus. But nothing's really coming out. No games are really coming out that I'm really interested in. I mean, Animal Crossing New Horizons came out, what, 5 days ago from when I'm recording this. And I've played all about 10 minutes of it because 6 Developer is playing it all the time. And I don't want to interrupt that. and there's been no Nintendo Direct for a while, so nothing really to look forward to, other than Prime 4, but, you know. Just Prime 4 is such a tragic story. Everything about it, ever since, you know, after Prime 3, most people from Retro left the studio, and all the rumours and the delay and the restart development, all that, it's just, that game breaks my heart, and I haven't even seen gameplay of it yet. Really is nothing that new that I'm looking for. I guess, well, I'm not gonna pick it up, but I am gonna, you know, look a bit online at the Resident Evil 3 remake, because I haven't played RE2 remake, only the original, and I mean I like the original, but I don't know about the remake because I haven't tried it. So, and of course there's Mystery Dungeon DX. Let's get back on topic for a bit, which I haven't tried at all. So, oh yeah, Uproar in this game is strange. So instead of doing damage and you're just forced to use Uproar over and over for a few turns, it just makes it so you can't be put to sleep if you use it, which is pretty useless and situational. If it still did damage, that wouldn't be too bad, but it doesn't, so... you know, the useful aspect of Uproar has been removed. So now it's just not very useful at all. But I believe Mount Freeze is... oh god, how long was Mount Blaze? I can't remember. That was about 18 floors or so, wasn't it? Oh, this is about 20, I want to say. Mount Freeze doesn't feel that difficult. It doesn't even feel like a mountain, you know, one of the mounts, because Mount Thunder and Blaze were much more monumental and harder, and they were big points in the game. But Mount Freeze just sort of happens. I'm talking about the dungeon itself, by the way, not the story surrounding it. It doesn't feel like an event to go through this dungeon, it just feels like a really long, regular dungeon. But I think the biggest thing that's preventing me from trying the remake is the price. Remake shouldn't be full price, that's absurd, it's way too much. Link's Awakening is just, you know, I like Link's Awakening, the original, but I'm not gonna pay $80, $90 in some stores for the remake. God no, kiss my ass. It's not worth that. Yeah, well, other games that I would like to Let's Play this year, I would like to do the original. I already talked about this. The original Resident Evil and remake. Could do Jill's story in the original and Chris's in the remake. I've talked about that. I think I bring this up every session, is the thing. So I'm not sure. Anyway, there's 2 Vigoroths here, and I'm not messing around with those. Vigoroths can be pretty tough to deal with. I wasn't going to say vigorous, because that's the whole point of the name. But Zangoose isn't really that bad, honestly. Viper's really where it's at in terms of difficulty. I think they start appearing around this floor. Maybe. You know what this place visually looks like? It looks like Ice Cave from Gen 2. Pokemon Gen 2. Well, like, it is an icy cave sort of thing, but you know, it's very, very shiny, very reflective. Also, Johto doesn't really strike me as that cold of a region. if it's got snow up on the north. Well, I guess it is based on Japan, and Japan's pretty cold, right? So, for my standards at least, if it snows, it's freezing. But have I pointed out the iron barbs yet? They replace the iron spikes or iron thorns, whatever they're called. They replace gravel rocks. They do a bit more damage, but they're just as useless. If you've got something on the ground that you need to swap out a piece in your inventory for, get rid of the thorns. Anyway, here's Slacking, who has Truant, so it only attacks every other turn. It went twice. What? What? That Slacking just went twice. Well, I guess we're not going to see the Slacking go twice, but it attacked 2 turns in a row. Slack-Koth doesn't do that, but Slacking seems to. That's strange. As you can see, I'm running away from this Viper, or trying to get Henry to bullet seed it, because Vipers are scary to deal with. Don't mess around with them. Another thing I heard about, I've seen in the remake, is that you don't always get max elixirs. Sometimes there's ethers, sometimes there's max ethers, sometimes there's just regular elixirs. And it just makes me think, what? You got rid of the regular attack, but you also made it so it's harder to get a full PP restore, which baffles me, and that makes me think the game is instantly harder. But apparently it's easier than the original, which doesn't really surprise me. It's a Pokemon game released after what year did they start to dumb them down? I want to say Black and White 2 is when they got a bit easier. Black and White 2 was still a decent difficulty though. Well, actually, I found parts of Sun and Moon to be difficult, and parts of Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon to be difficult. Now I want to say that's because the game was actually, well, parts of the game were actually hard. They were difficulty spikes. There wasn't a decent curve. It was a difficulty spike, which is already a bad thing, because afterwards the game would go back to being piss easy. I'm thinking of like the Lurantis fight, or the I can't remember the name of the Pokemon, but in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, the 8th trial fight. That was hard. That was difficult. Then straight afterwards, the game was easy again. And the Ultra Necrozma fight, that was hard. And straight afterwards, is easy again. It makes me less think that, oh, it's just it's fair difficulty in portions of the game. And makes me more think, oh, it's just the game's got terrible balancing, which is what I'm more inclined to believe after Sword and Shield. Because Sword and Shield, it was so easy, right? It was such an easy game. Except I was under-leveled for the first few, I want to say like the 3rd and 4th gym, and I had to grind for the 4th gym, because I lost a few times to the gym leader. Whatever her name was, I had Sword, the fighting type gym. And I can't remember what, it was the Hitmontop, just demolished my team.